This is a watermelon, a sweet, juicy red fruit. But a few thousand years ago, this was a watermelon, bitter and tiny with a tough rind, not very tasty. And 3,000 years ago, there was no broccoli, cauliflower, or Brussels sprouts. There was just this plant, Brassica oleracea. From that one species, we now have all these vegetables. How is this possible? Since the dawn of agriculture, we've manipulated our crops to alter how they look, grow, and taste. For example, early on, we began selecting individual plants with traits we like and cultivated them. Over generations, and generations, and generations, we tailored our food to our tastes and needs, just like the watermelon and all the brassicas. More recently, we learned to create hybrids, taking a plant with desirable characteristics and breeding it with a related plant, creating a new variety that has traits of both. This gave us mandarin oranges that are seedless, apples that are crispier and juicier, and tomatoes that are easier to pick and ship. Some of the most successful hybrids have made our farms more productive, allowing us to feed more people around the world with the same amount of land. Today, we have even more control over our food through the use of genetic engineering. Scientists can take a piece of DNA from one species and insert it into the DNA of another, creating a new variety of the plant with traits it didn't have before. These are called genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. The majority of GMOs are made to withstand a specific herbicide, and many are resistant to a particular pest or pathogen. Researchers are developing crops with other benefits as well, such as drought resistance and the ability to produce life-saving vaccines. They're also trying to make foods with greater nutrition and higher yields, which could help sustain our growing population. But altering our food has had some unintended consequences. In the 1950s, farmers worldwide began to switch from growing a variety of crops to just a few important staple crops that were developed for high yields. This helped us produce more food, but it also caused our diets to become similar around the world. Today, more than half of the world's food energy comes from just 3 crops. And when farmers plant large fields with only one crop, it can limit the other species that might live there. It can also make the entire crop more vulnerable to a disease outbreak or a pest infestation. GMOs bring different challenges. On farms that grow herbicide-tolerant crops, repeated use of the same herbicide can cause weed populations to develop a resistance. Farmers often react by using more and more of the chemicals, and in stronger doses. And some studies show that GMOs could breed with close relatives living nearby and pass their traits on to them. Despite the challenges, we now have more control over our food than ever before, but power requires balance. Only by understanding the impacts of our ingenuity can we decide how much we can and should intervene to shape the future of our food.